and welcome to the Pathwalk Innovation Series. We are excited to have you here as part of this session. Our session right now is optimizing your JD Edwards security and licensing status. And our presenter is Serge Desloover, Senior Account Manager at Quistor.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, my name is Serge Desloover. As mentioned, I'm Senior Account Manager. I'm based in Barcelona, in beautiful Spain. I'm 8 years working at Quistor, but before that, yeah, more than 24 years working in and around JD Edwards, first as a manufacturing and maintenance consultant, and after that, global project leader. And now since 2.5 or 3 years, I am responsible for named accounts. You see here my contact details. If after this presentation you have any questions or whatever, call me, email me, whatever, everything fine. Short introduction of Quistor for the ones that don't know us. We are one of the bigger, let's say, JD Edwards and Oracle related companies. We have a presence in the United States. We have our office in Los Angeles. We are in Brazil, Argentina, Europe. Our head office is in Europe, in the Netherlands in this case. One of our biggest offices in Spain, and we are in the Philippines. So this is our global footprint. We are growing very rapidly. So you will see in the next year that we will this map for sure will be more colored. Our background is in JD Edwards. That's where our company was 18 years ago was based on. And from there we started to do managed services. So we monitor your systems. We do everything around your hardware, software, clouds, and whatever. We have a huge business analytics and big data unit. Cloud, we are one of the #1 OCI partners in Europe for Oracle, and a lot on database technology servers and as last application development. So that's Quistor. The presentation of today has everything to do with conformity in security, conformity on licenses, etc., etc. And that's why I started with this slide. As you see there, right under Enron and Tyco, two clear examples of where in the past executives they were pumping up their own numbers. They were enriching themselves without proper checks in the company. And what you saw, this is, I think everybody remembers this. This is around 2002 that this happened. And after that, a lot of regulations came up and new laws were created. Of course, SOX, Sarbanes and Oxley, of course, American-based companies are following on that one, which is mainly on segregation of duties. So they follow the laws in every country. You work on your internal standards. You, of course, as a company, you work on your service standards. You have your own standards, which are not specifically related on SOX or on SOD, segregation of duties or whatever, but you have your own status. And you have, of course, and you see this also the last years, more on the ethical regulations. How do you as a company act? And all of this is related to what I'm going to share with you today, and that has to do with security. So what you don't want is that you have in somehow a data breach or whatever, and that a lot of data, for example, from suppliers or whatever, ends up on the market. And these are things which unfortunately happen every now and then. You see here the examples, but that's something what we want to prevent, of course. So if you look to SOD, if you look to SOX, the focus is to secure your data, to track security breaches in your systems, and make sure that you have event logs, that you can prove to the auditor that your system is in control and you control your system. If not, you can have serious issues. And that's the next step where we go for conformity in JD Edwards. The presentation of today has a focus on JD Edwards and it's all about preventing violations. You see here SOX, you have the local regulations. All these kind of checks in your system need to be done on a regular basis. You need to prove to your auditor that you did these checks and that there's nothing that you are liable for. If you look, for example, to the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, yeah, this is something clear that you don't want that anybody outside of your organization can access your data or receive that data. On the other hand, also inside your company, you don't want this to happen. You don't want that employees or related workers from your company see data that they should not see. Yeah, it's all around security and that kind of things. So what we are showing you, what we're going to show you is how you can check if your security in GD Edwards is well set up. If your security is confirmed, the standards that you add for yourself. That can be SOX, that can be your own rules, your own SOD rules, etc. That can be the rules that the auditor dictates to you, but that's what we are aiming for. And seeing the security part, that's one component, but what we also see in this case is that, and you see that in the last line here, that security has an impact on your GD Edwards licenses. And I will tell a little bit more on that later on, what is the match. But here you see in a nutshell what I just said. And so we focus on segregation of duty. Auditors, they claim this from you. You need to follow the SOD rules that your auditor gives you. And within GD Edwards, standard GD Edwards, there is no native functionality. Yeah, so GD Edwards security does not have a tooling inside that helps you with the SOD. So you need to do that or with tools, and that's what we're going to tell you. That's the pathlock tools in this case, or you need to do that outside of your system by auditors or proving everything with paperwork or whatever kind of things. Yeah. So in GD Edwards, there is no solution for this. Yeah. And there is an urgent need. There is an urgent need to identify any SOD conflict that you have in your system, because at the moment that a security breach is there and data is on the market, or you can get extreme penalties, lawsuits, or image damage. So you can imagine this is something which is quite hot, and we unfortunately have a lot of examples where it went wrong. But this is one of the things. Yeah. So I said to you before already that security itself in GD Edwards has a connection with your licenses, and that's the next one. So when you bought GD Edwards years ago, or maybe shortly, standard GD Edwards is rolled out or delivered to you with all the models in there. So you can use every model you want. If you install it and you just set it up, you add it in your menu, you let a consultant do the setup, you can use these modules. Yeah, there is no restriction. It's not on a prescription base or whatever that the system tells you, hey, you don't have a license for this module. So what happens, and we see that almost at every customer, that during the year, they started using modules that they, per definition, do not have in their contract. With as a result that over the years, maybe your numbers of users grow because hopefully you as a company grow, but also the modules you use is growing. If you are not following up with your contracts on Oracle, yeah, you are behind, and meaning that you are under license at that moment. And then Oracle LMS comes in. Oracle LMS is a kind of the internal auditor of Oracle, and they are entitled to go to ring to you, or that to go into your system and to have a look on what modules are you using. If it comes out that you are using modules which you don't have in your contract, For sure, you need to buy these contracts for the list price, which is not the nicest part. But secondly, you get a penalty on this kind of things. So it is quite important to follow up in your system what you are using, yeah, and if that's still in line with your licenses, yeah. So license compliancy, yeah. What compliancy? What we spoke about is that you have access. Yeah, Oracle gave you access to all the modules, but it can be that you are using much more than initially you bought in your contract. Yeah. So to avoid penalties from Oracle LMS, you need to make sure that you are on a good license level. Second to that, if you are under licensed, it prevents you from upgrading. Yeah. So if you don't have the right licenses and you don't have your contracts well in place, you have a problem. You get a problem of upgrading your ERP system. If you cannot upgrade your ERP system, then again you will lag behind in your security patches and that kind of things, which again creates a danger for hackers or whatever to go into your system. Yeah. So all of this, it makes clear that it makes your company vulnerable on GDPR breaches, yeah, because you are yeah, your security is not well enough. Maybe from a security point of view, you have users in your system which should not be there. How often don't we see when we come to a customer that they have users there and we confront them with that and they say, "Oh, this person already left 3 years ago," or "This consultant is not working for me anymore, but he have public access, yeah, in production environment." So all these kind of things, it's good to have a control on that one. And what we see over the years is that within our customers, not everybody has the right skill set to do that or has the time to do that, because security and managing your security, etc., is a job, and it's really something that should be taken very seriously. It's not something you do next to your normal job, which from the past, it happens a lot of times. No, 9 out of 10 the people that are working in or around security were, for example, key users before, and they rolled into that role, which is fine. But yeah, what you see nowadays, there's every time more pressure also on labor, that these people cannot spend the time on these kind of checks, what they should do. Yeah. So this is the nutshell of what I want to say. What we do with the Pathlog software is that we help you in making, call it an audit of your system. So what we do is that with the Pathlog tools, we make a picture of your system. So we check if there is any possible SOD conflict. Yeah. So what we do, and you see that in the picture on the right hand corner, we take an extraction from your system. So we need at that moment access to your system. We take an extraction, and with that extraction, within the Pathlog tools, we create an analysis, which means, by the way, that during this audit, your system is not touched. So during the audit, at the moment that we have the data, we leave you alone. You don't have any performance issues or whatever on your system, because simply we are not there. Yeah. So we take that instruction and we put that in the cloud. We call it the Pathlog cloud, the Q cloud. And from there, when we are in the Quistor cloud, we start analyzing and we check on your system which users are active, which users have transactions in what modules, in what programs, in what databases, etc., etc. And with this, we create all kinds of statistics. So we tell you which user or user group or whatever has access to certain applications, and next to that, which users also did transactions in these modules. So with this analyze, we can tell you how the activities are in your system. Yeah, and this is something you must imagine that whole this analysis is done within a week. So and then I'm talking about throughput time, but the actual analysis is shorter. Yeah. So what we have at that moment is we can tell you where users have access to, and also what applications they are really using. So we are comparing all kind of transactions and that kind of things. Yeah, because if there's transaction, means people are active. Well, next to that, we check your contracts. So what we ask you is to share your Oracle contract with us. And then a very important point comes up. The service that we do, so the analysis we do, is not related to Oracle. It's not related to Oracle LMS. So everything we do is confidential, only between the customer and Quistor. We do this analysis, and none of this information is somehow shared with Oracle. So it's something between us, because it gives you a picture on what is your license situation. And the reason why we keep this as a secret, why we keep this confidential, is you can imagine that if you are under licensed, yeah, Oracle is very eager to hear this information, of course. So this is something for you, and you can decide how to resolve a certain under license situation. Yeah, and later I come a bit, I will explain a bit more on how you can resolve that. But in general, the test we are doing, the check we are doing, is independent from Oracle. On the contrary, the audit we are doing is exactly the same as what Oracle LMS comes in. So our check and our analysis is call it almost 100% same match as what Oracle LMS will do. So when Oracle LMS comes in, they do the same check. So if we tell that comparing your contracts and call it manufacturing, yeah, and we see that people are doing activities in the manufacturing modules, and you have, based on your contract, for example, for 20 users a license, and we see 40 or 50, it means that you're under licensed. Yeah. So that's the conclusion we can give you. At the same moment, we do the SOD checks. So at the same moment, we check all these users and to see if there is any SOD conflict in your system. And what does that mean, an SOD conflict? Imagine that somebody can create a purchase order, receive a purchase order, and pay that purchase order, or the invoice from that purchase order. Well, you can imagine that's quite a dangerous situation, because at that moment he can, or he or she can fulfill his own pocket. Think about Enron. So this is something which we want to avoid. Well, in fact, you want to avoid, and your auditor want to avoid. So this is based on this is captured in SOD ruling, and that's what we check on. So the tool set of Pathlog allows us to bring up all these SOD conflicts. So what you will receive from us is an overview with, of course, our explanation of all the SOD conflicts you have, and you can take action on that. Yeah, most common action is stop adjust security and make sure that they don't have access to one of these programs. Can also be that the SOD conflicts are so high and so intense that we really need to do a segregation of duty redesign. Yeah. And then we are talking about a more intensive project where, for example, we build up the whole security matrix from scratch, again with the Pathlog tools. Yeah. So they have quick roles, and quick roles are predefined security rules which are already SOX compliant. So if you keep these rules as a basis, from a SOX perspective, you're okay. Now you need to map it on your business process, etc. But that's in general how we approach these kind of things. But coming back to the audit, to the check. So we check on your licenses. and we check on your SOD conflicts. And based on that, we will give you an advice. And that's what you see here. And you see all kind of dashboards, all kind of reports, presentations, etc. What you will receive. After that, after our presentation, we discuss on how you could resolve. Because look to your license situation. Imagine that you are for, I don't know, 50 users under license. You can do two things. You can buy the remaining licenses, or we can see from a security point of view if users really need these kind of licenses. Yeah, and then you come back into, let's call it the way you have your contracts built up. Yeah, you have, for example, within GD AdWords, you have cost bundles, or you have a license per module. If you have cost bundles, a cost bundle means that you have a mix of different modules bought. Yeah, so one license for a cost bundle, for example, includes sales order management, inventory management, and purchase order management. Yeah, so if one user uses one of these cost licenses, then that person has access to these three models, which can be fine. What we see sometimes is that due to the fact that your company grew during the period, that you have more functionalities, and the cost bundle structure is not exactly covering your initial demand. At that moment, we look at your cost bundles and we check how we can most effectively let your company use the remaining cost bundles, because within Oracle, it's very difficult to change your cost bundles. So you bought them one time and they're from you, so you cannot change them. But we are looking for ways of, if you need to buy new licenses, buy modular or cost bundles which reflect your current situation, and we make an advice on how to use your cost bundle, your current cost bundle, in the most effective way. And if you have that in place, after that analysis, we let you decide what to buy. But that's up to you. Again, there's nothing communicated to Oracle. It's something between Quistor and the client, and it's up to you what you want to buy or not buy. So that's shortly on the audit we are doing. So again, as a short recap, we extract data from your system, we run it on our own cloud, we do the analysis, data is secured. After the analysis, on your request, data will be also terminated, will be deleted. You will receive all these information, you will receive our advice, and then you make the next step. So what we see, and we are pretty successful with this service, because what we see is that within GD AdWords country, this knowledge is very rare, and we are working together with Pathlock before Q Software. We are working together with them for over 10 years already, so we have the experience in-house to give you the right advice. We also for a lot of companies do the managed services on security, so we are really security experts in this one. So what's the benefit for you to make use of this server? First, you will always be license compliant. Yeah, so we make sure that you have the right licenses. It does not mean that you always need to buy 100%. Yeah. It means, for example, a good example which we had 2 weeks ago. One user used one screen of customer service management, and that was just simply because, yeah, he needs that screen. Does that mean that you need to buy the whole licenses of customer service management? No. So with our report, normally you are okay, and this is 90%, 99% for sure. With our report, there is a statement in it explaining why that user has that screen. Yeah. In this specific case, the customer preferred anyway to avoid it, so we made a Cafe One and we built a kind of screen for him. But anyway, so it's an example. So again, it's not that what we advise is also something you per definition should buy. It's your choice finally. We provide evidence for Oracle LMS. It's what I just said. In this situation, you have our report. If Oracle LMS comes in, you can show, look, Quistor did the analysis. This is what came out, and we decided to buy these licenses or whatever. Yeah. So Oracle LMS knows us in the market, and they also know that if we do an analysis and this was the outcome, they will follow that. Yeah. SOD conflicts, where I started my presentation with. Our analysis and our advice gives you a clear insight on your SOD conflicts. So it gives you a clear picture on where you should work on and where you could have potential breaches. Yeah. No need to buy licenses. Yeah. So the service, what we are doing with Pathlock software, you don't need to buy the license for this. It's purely a service. It's a one-time payment, and that's it. Yeah. With the analysis, as mentioned before, you can see which users have access, but also which users have unnecessary access. And this is something, it can clean up your system. Yeah? How many consultants do you have in your system that can have access to everything, or consultants that were gone already, or employees that left the company years ago already, and they're still in your system? Yeah. So all of this, it's very beneficial. And again, we are pretty successful with this service. Our added value, short recap. It's not expensive. It's easy. It's fast. Normally, we do a security and a license audit at the same time. But if you did a license audit last year, then the next time we focus on security. We advise to normally do 2 audits per year. Yeah, just to make sure, mainly on the security part and the license audit 1 time per year. In the contrary, if you are using other Pathlock tooling for GD Edwards and you use the Service Manager Pro or the Audit Manager or all the modules that Pathlock is providing, then you are normally already quite under control, because you use, when you create users, you do that according to an SOD thing. If not, this service is really important and adds value to you to understand how your system is being used and how you can continue with it. This is just commercial. If you want to have our brochure or anything else, additional information, you can download that here. And that's about it. I don't know if there's any question at this stage. Stephanie, did you have a look on something?
Yeah, thank you so much, Serge, for that presentation. We have a few questions, and if you have any more questions, please add them now into the questions box. Be sure to answer those.
Yep.
Our questions are, oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, my internet is having a hard time for 1 second. There we go. For the SOD and license check, you use the Pathlock Q Cloud functionality with Security Manager Pro and Audit modules. Can we do the same?
Yeah. I think the question, it's a bit like what I mentioned at the end. So the audit that we are doing, we are using the cloud functionality. If you are a Pathlock customer and you use, for example, Security Manager Pro, most often in combination with Audit Manager, you still need this audit, because these 2 modules, which you use for your daily maintenance of your security, these 2 modules will not give you any insight on your license situation. What it helps is, for sure, I recommend to use these modules anyway to do your security setup, because at the moment that you create a role for a customer, or you for an employee, or you change something, you do automatic SOD checks. So from an SOD point of view, normally you are in a better shape. I hope that answers the question.
Our next question is, we have all doors open security settings. We use menu filtering. Can you do the analysis with these settings?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, but the analysis we can do in always, but it was all they use menu filtering, right? You said menu filtering. So
yeah, menu filter.
Yeah. So it is a good question. The LMS, so and so we LMS sees menu filtering not as security. So let me explain. If you use menu filtering, meaning that a user on a menu does not have access to that part because in the menu you took it out, you put a kind of security on your menu. Officially, that person still have access to the applications because there's always a backdoor, and you can go via a row exit or a form exit or whatever. You can still access these applications. So for Oracle LMS, and so for us, we do not see menu filtering as security. Yeah, so call it very black and white. If Oracle LMS comes in, you have menu filtering, but on your user, on your roles, etc., they have access to these applications, you need to buy licenses. What we do with the audit, we can take menu filtering into account. So what we do is that we run the audit, and there's some tooling within Pathlock also, with which we can adapt your current menu filtering and adapt that into our audit. So we can say, look, if you change your menu filtering into real security, then this will be your SOD situation, and then this will be your license situation. But it's something that you need to act on. So that means that after the audit, we definitely need to do some redesign, a small project, to make sure that menu filtering is turned into real roles and securities. Yeah, so that's something which we need to act. In fact, we are doing that right now for a customer in South Africa. So it is definitely something. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. So we can do the audit, absolutely, and we take it into account.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have for right now. I just wanted to say thank you, Serge, for your presentation, and thank you everybody for attending. This presentation was recorded and will be sent out to all of those that registered, and you'll be able to access that on our page next week, and we'll also send out an email about that. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you for coming, and we hope to see you at future sessions.